Why will animals act strange? There are many peculiar stories. Do they reason or act on instinct? The actions of animals are determined by a small part of their brain that tells them what to do, without the need to think or reflect on it. These actions are known as animal instincts, so it's very normal for many types of animals to have a certain behavior in different situations. But it's not only about animal instinct we will talk about in these stories. Now, with the increase in interactions between animals and humans, the former have begun to behave strangely, working alongside us or protecting themselves when we harm them. Now, what is the craziest or strangest behavior an animal can have? Get ready to be surprised on the bizarre animal stories from around the world. And for some extra fun, find our mascot Ned hiding throughout the video. Colossus the Gorilla. Are you one of the people who thinks that politicians do not correctly represent the changes you want to see in your community? Well, maybe this gorilla is the candidate for you. In the 1980s, a zoo in New Hampshire, United States, decided to nominate an over 100-pound gorilla named Colossus in the primary elections for President of the United States. Why? Well, according to the zoo, the Constitution never specifically said that the candidates had to be human beings. So, in theory, any living being could start asking for the votes of the citizens. Unfortunately, Colossus' candidacy was revoked because he was under 35 years old. He would have been a real heavyweight in the electoral contest. Islamic countries arresting animals. It seems that some Islamic countries have taken the phrase "a little bird told me" very seriously. According to official sources from governments such as Egypt and Sudan, they have repeatedly captured birds on suspicions of being Israeli spies in search of information on their military operations. Fortunately, none of the birds have been found guilty of espionage so far, a crime heavily punished in those countries. What is true is that many of them have a GPS system attached to their legs. This with the intention that scientists can follow and know the migratory routes. Could one of these devices have a hidden microphone? Maybe that's why little birds tell people's secrets. Brain implants in sharks. Sharks are fascinating creatures, so it's no wonder scientists seek to understand their behavior and their brains. In 2006, the Pentagon launched a program that sought to introduce electrodes into the brains of several living sharks. This with the intention of stimulating the central nervous system remotely and studying how the sharks relate and interact with the environment. But that's not all. As if it were a movie, the project also sought to find military applications for sharks, using them to follow ships or submarines without being detected by the enemy. Despite the ambition of the project, apparently there were no positive results. Or that's what they wanted us to think. An arrested parrot. Parrots are very intelligent birds. Among its many virtues is the ability to repeat words they hear from humans. But the case of this parrot from India is quite particular, because according to an 85-year-old woman, her stepson taught the parrot to insult her every time she saw her go by. Upon hearing the testimony, the police arrested the poor parrot. But after running various tests and seeing that the animal did not utter any bad words while it was with them, they proceeded to hand it over to the Environment Ministry to decide what to do with it. It seems that the parrot also learned not to betray its owner. A thieving goat. The police in Kawara, Nigeria, were forced to arrest and take to the police command a goat after an angry mob accused it of stealing cars in the region. But how did a goat manage to steal vehicles without hands or fingers? According to witnesses, the goat was actually a person who used witchcraft to transform itself into the animal and thus avoiding justice. As incredible as it may seem, the police detained the goat for a time to open an official investigation for theft. We all know that goats are quite restless and mischievous animals, but maybe stealing cars is too much for them. The fishing cormorants. These birds are characterized by having a serpentine neck, a sharp beak, and semi-waterproof feathers, which allow them to dive close to 10 meters underwater and catch fish with great ease. Recognizing the ability of these birds, fishermen in Asia began to use them as fishing companions. From a young age, fishermen train cormorants with collars that prevent the bird from swallowing the fish it catches. After they have caught a certain amount of fish, the fishermen remove the collar and give the cormorant a fish portion as payment for their hard work. It seems to be a working relationship that benefits both. Sea lions detect minds. We all know that dogs have great abilities as guardians and protectors of people or objects, but unfortunately, they cannot defend us from aquatic threats, which is why the state of California, United States, has trained about 30 sea lions to detect mines underwater that may represent a danger to citizens. But that's not all. These animals are also trained in the use of special handcuffs, which allows them to capture enemy divers or suspicious people who are swimming near high security ports. Now, watchdogs have a very stiff competition. The Escapist octopus. Inky is a common octopus from New Zealand that quietly lived in the National Aquarium. However, realizing that the lid of his tank was left open after it was cleaned, he decided to flee in the middle of the night and achieved his freedom. According to the manager of the aquarium, Inky was always a very curious and mischievous octopus, so he was not surprised that he ran away as soon as he got the chance. According to the story, the octopus went down one side of the tank and then crawled 10 feet across the floor until he reached a pipe that ended in Hawke's Bay. Quite an escapist. A killer white shark. Aquariums are usually very quiet places for fish and other type of aquatic animals, and although predators normally live in the same tanks as their prey, they rarely hunt them, as the aquarium is in charge of feeding them daily and they do not need to hunt. However, the Monterey Bay Aquarium in California experienced a very particular episode when it decided to have a white shark in its facilities that had been caught by mistake. In the almost 200 days that the shark spent in the aquarium, it managed to bite and kill 2 other sharks of different species that shared the tank with it. Shortly after the attacks, the manager of the aquarium decided to return it to the sea before it began to attack other fish. The runaway unicorn. Do you think that unicorns were just mythical creatures from fairy tales? Well, you're wrong, because the Highway Patrol in California, United States, chased a unicorn for almost 3 hours to be able to return it to its owner. The truth is that it was actually a pony disguised as a unicorn, which was being used for a children's photo shoot in a nearby ranch. The chase was so complex that the police were forced to use a thermal vision helicopter to find the animal, who sought refuge in a nearby forest. It was surely a movie-like type of day for the area police officers. Supermarket eggs. In case you didn't know, chicken lay eggs regardless of whether they are fertilized by the rooster or not. This means that most of the eggs sold in supermarkets cannot be turned into little chicks even if they are incubated correctly. However, Alwyn Wills, a 45-year-old Dutchman, decided to test the veracity of that claim. After buying eggs in the supermarket, he started to incubate them, and to his surprise, after about a month, a little quail was born, which he adopted and named Albert. You know, the eggs you eat for breakfast may actually be fertilized eggs waiting to hatch. A two-headed blue shark. There are siblings that are born attached, also known as Siamese twins. Many of these babies grow up and can be surgically separated. But in the animal world, how do they get separated? multiple fishermen around the world have reported finding small, blue, two-headed sharks while fishing. Some in the water and others in the womb of their mothers, yet unborn. Although scientists claim that this situation is rare, it is appearing more and more around the world. According to the first theories, this deformity may be due to factors such as water pollution, viral infections, or metabolic disorders. In case you're afraid of ever encountering a two-headed shark while on vacation, do not worry, because the few who manage to be born despite their deformity perish quickly and do not become adults. As you could see, the animal kingdom hides great stories, some more difficult to believe than others, but without a doubt, all just as fascinating. What makes animals adopt strange behaviors? Do animals learn from us or adapt to new ways of interacting with us? Thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Remember to click the bell icon after you subscribe so you can get instant notifications of all our new videos.